The Redmi Note lineup has almost constantly been good hits, providing a truckload of features that most people would enjoy, and a great user experience at a price point that doesn't break the bank. But that is gone now. No longer is the latest Redmi a Note, but a Plus. Hey guys, it's Adro, and today we're going to take a look at the Redmi 5 Plus and how well does it hold the Redmi Note legacy. Let's take a look. When you pick up the Redmi 5 Plus, it does the series proud by giving a premium feeling even at a lower price point. The mostly metal body feels smooth and comfortable to hold in the hand while feeling rather premium, with the metal body and no creaking to be found. And it does have a certain heft to it. Its slightly curved back does help the phone fit snugly in your hand, and the curves don't end there as well. Xiaomi has curved the corners of this phone a lot more than its predecessor, the Redmi Note 4, and it has curved the screen as well. The screen now extends to 5.99 inches, let's just call it 6. Don't worry too much about that size though, it's just a taller screen and the capacitive keys have been removed. And in terms of width wise, it's the same as the Redmi Note 4. In fact, it's actually less broad than the Redmi Note 4 because Xiaomi has actually trimmed the bezels not only on the top and bottom but also on the sides, reducing the black border between the real border and the screen. From a first look, the Redmi 5 Plus fits pretty nicely into the 2017-2018 trend of minimal bezels and a taller screen. But that's not to say it's perfect. While the phone retains the bright, beautiful colors such as this blue one here, which I adore by the way, we no longer have a silver option, which we had on the Redmi Note 4 and the Redmi Note 3. And all the bright color variants on the Redmi 5 Plus all have this white front. In my opinion, the phone will look a lot better if all variants use a black front, as it makes the viewing experience a lot more immersive and pretty, as the addition of the selfie flash besides the sensors has made the phone non-symmetric and in return a bit more ugly. Let me have a beautiful colorful back and an immersive front, Xiaomi. Samsung does it with their flagship phones and it looks great. The side buttons feel okay, not as clicky as I would like. Phones like the Mi A1 and the Huawei Mate 9 have spoiled me there, but they're not horribly mushy. And lastly, why do we have a raised camera in the middle? It makes the phone wobbly on surfaces. It does not look good, and I feel like the bumps surrounding area could have been raised for things like a bigger battery. Now to be clear, I don't hate the Redmi 5 Plus design. I think it still looks good. I'm just pointing out flaws of an otherwise good design. The Redmi 5 Plus isn't a looker, but it still maintains a clean and modern shell that will please most. Let's just call it unoffensive, shall we? Inside the shell, we find very familiar internals. The aforementioned 6-inch 1080p Plus screen, the Snapdragon 625, 64GB of storage with 4GB of RAM, or 32GB of storage with 3GB of RAM, a 13MP back camera, 5MP front camera with selfie light, a 4Ah battery with 10W quick charging through micro USB, a fast and responsive fingerprint sensor, dual band Wi-Fi N, hybrid SIM slot with support for dual 3G, and yup, it's still the Snapdragon 625. Again. No, it's not a bad processor by any means. The combination of it plus 3GB of RAM that I have on my model runs day-to-day tasks fine, multitasks decently with just a few stutters here and there, but it's 2018! And the Snapdragon 625 is close to 2 years old now. It's time for an upgrade. Gaming would heavily benefit from the successor Snapdragon 630 chip, which keeps the same fantastic efficiency of the Snapdragon 625, but with slightly better CPU and noticeably better graphics performance. And while I still love the IR blaster, I would love to see some upgrades on the communication side of things. Wi-Fi AC, a feature in the Redmi Note 2 and 3 mind you, NFC, and USB-C will be great additions as well, and will set the phone apart from the competition. A faster quick charge would be great as well. But it does not, and the specs look rather average on paper, especially compared to its predecessor and similar budget counterparts. But specs are one thing, reality is another. Let's see how it does. First of all, the camera seems to have improved, with a bigger sensor with bigger pixel sizes. But on the other hand, it has a smaller aperture at f2.2 than f2.0 of the Redmi Note 4, which lets in a third less light. Not a good start, but maybe the bigger pixel sizes can help improve noise performance? Realistically, photo quality is not completely better. Processing is generally more contrasty, sharpened and saturated, which delivers nicer looking photos. But the result is more blocky noise, than most would like, and way too much over sharpening. The processing is rather like the A1, and hey, it has the same sensor as well, so that makes sense. Thankfully, the sharpening can be tuned down in settings rather easily. I went 2 stops down like I did on the Mi A1. The lens is also wider, and Xiaomi has changed exposure settings slightly compared to the other phones that they have to favor higher shutter speeds in low light situations. Granted, this does increase noise, but in my opinion, this is a welcome change as I'll take a noisier photo over a blurry one on a phone without OIS. What does this mean realistically? The story is unchanged for this class of phones. In highlight situations, you get rather good results, from color to auto exposure, okay to good midday results with noise creeping in fast, and poor but still respectable low light results, with high noise, loss of color, and lower details. Autofocus speeds are what I call okay, and the dual tone flash is here. The phone also handles exposures decently, though it still struggles here and there. HDR works very well in my opinion, doing a decent job at bringing in shadows and highlights and giving the photo a good overall pop. Overall, the back camera is still good for the price, and it being a slight upgrade over the Redmi Note 4, but not groundbreaking. Flipping over to the front, the LED flash is a plus. Get it? Plus? And it's actually very useful in low light as it does a decent job at highlighting the face without completely blowing it out. They still haven't addressed one of the biggest issues with the previous notes, which is that the lens is still way too tight. Again, similar story of a slight upgrade over the Redmi Note 4, though more the case of an added feature than anything. The video camera on both the front, back camera has been improved in terms of frame rate, resolution, and in terms of pure detail. In terms of other multimedia aspects of the phone, the bottom firing speaker is average and loud, though I do heavily miss the earpiece being a front speaker like the Max 2. The top headphone jack provides decently loud output, and the screen, while not having the greatest viewing angles, especially vertically, is still sharp and decently saturated. Shifting over to the software side of things, this phone is currently running Android Nougat with MIUI 9. Now all my experiences for this phone have been on the Xiaomi.eu ROM, as when I was playing with the device, the global ROM has not been released. And that experience is generally quite positive. The device feels snappy with minimal stutters, multitasking works quite well with split screen support. Now MIUI 9 does have some iOS traits here and there with no app drawer, but it does bring along a lot of nice features, including the ability to clone apps for multiple accounts, the ability to show you battery status as a bar on the top, the ability to swap soft keys, a theming engine with a store to boot, long screenshots, Mi Drop, kind of like AirDrop but it works across all Android devices with an app install, a blue light filter, a fantastic data management suite, well the list goes on. Basically, this phone is jam-packed with features. It's not perfect though. Lock screen notifications are very iOS-y in a bad way where they disappear from the lock screen upon unlocking. Some features such as Google Smart Lock is broken in MIUI, and because of how jam-packed the ROM is, it can be a RAM hog. Thankfully, this is Android, so some things like the launcher and notifications can be fixed, and overall, it delivers a good experience. But how long can that experience last? Well, the Redmi 5 Plus carries the family name proud, lasting easily through 2 heavy days or 4 light days. Not too much of a surprise considering the Snapdragon 625 and the 4Ah battery, but it's nice to have some real world results to back that up. Now let's talk about the little things of the phone, both the good and bad in no particular order. The phone has a decent vibration motor, not the quietest but decently strong feeling. The screen seems to have a faster wait time than the previous Redmi Note 4, which in return makes it feel faster at unlocking. The phone on the latest version of MIUI has this gesture-based navigation system, which does free up some screen real estate and is surprisingly fun to use, but it does have some issues which I explained in the video over there. Still, with those issues, I enjoy using it just because it's sheer fun. I wish the fingerprint supported gestures like Huawei phones to bring up the notifications, especially considering how tall the screen is, and the hand gymnastics needed to bring down notifications. Trying to unlock the phone's bootloader to change to the global ROM or update to a dev ROM is a bigger pain than the already hard process, as instead of asking you to wait 3 days for the phone to associate with the servers for the unlock to proceed, they have changed the wait time to 15 days. The included case on my phone was incredibly loose, to the point where I basically almost wrote a rant about it, but from checking with my friend, he doesn't have that issue, so it might be a dud on my side. I am sad at Xiaomi's decision to go with a white LED notification light, but they have done that on the other phones as well, so I guess that was not too unexpected. And that ends the little things. So should you get the Redmi 5 Plus? Now I'm not gonna lie, I was disappointed by the internals of this phone. It didn't seem much of an upgrade over the Redmi Note 4. USB-C, NFC, Wi-Fi AC, upgraded processor, not here. Instead, Xiaomi seems to have taken the Redmi Note 4, rounded the edges a bit, thrown in a new similar performing camera, selfie flash and a taller screen, and hey, we released a new phone! But is that necessarily a bad thing? The Redmi Note 4 is still one of the best bang for buck phone that you can get. So with all these improvements, it just makes Xiaomi's budget lineup even more competitive. Is it a groundbreaking phone? No. Is it a good incremental upgrade and still a fantastic value? Yeah, but that's not to say it has a lot more competition growing